What's up YouTube? Ian Sandusky back here again from Lakewood Machine for Practical Machinist, and welcome to Shop Talk. Before we start today, make sure you guys like and subscribe below if you want to see more videos. Let's get into it. So today's discussion was found on the Practical Machinist forums. I was lurking on there as I'm wont to do. And I saw a discussion that made me laugh and made me think about a lot of things. A guy was talking about how he had an incredibly rude walk-in customer and was kind of looking for stories and explanations of how to deal with situations like these, let's call it that. And it got me thinking about my own experiences with walk-in customers. I've had rude ones, but I think it's an interesting discussion, as especially someone who manages a production shop, to talk about what walk-in customers can entail and how I personally deal with them. Now, I'll preface this with my general rule, and that's that walk-in customers for me are more or less a hard no. Are there exceptions to every rule? Yes, we'll get into that, but I'm gonna start right now with saying, me personally, walk-in customers are a hard no. We'll start by saying there's three kinds of walk-in customers in my experience. I've been here, just as a background, I've been here for 12 years on and off, and here full-time for about 8. So I mean, I haven't been in the industry as long as some of you guys, but I've seen quite a few walk-in customers in those days, and I've had to deal with many situations regarding them. And I've kind of broken it down so that there's 3 different kinds of walk-in customers. The first is the guy that comes off the street, the civilian, might you say. This is the guy that's going to walk into your shop in the front door with a part for his lawnmower that needs rethreading. Or he has, last week, got a guy come in that wanted a part made for his exercise machine that broke. These are kind of little one-off jobs or fix-it jobs by people who somehow think that getting you to fix it or getting you to fabricate a new part or machine a new part or whatever it may be is somehow going to be cheaper than going to the manufacturer they bought it from or just buying a whole new unit. These people typically don't really have a lot of understanding of what machine shops even do. They don't understand machining processes. They don't understand the tooling, the requirements, what's possible. None of this makes them a bad person or reflects poorly on them. They just don't know what they're asking for. In my experience, these people typically want it as quickly as possible, sometimes not. But they generally don't know what's important. So if you ask them what's critical on it, they may say, oh, something goes through here, or I don't know, it needs to be about this long. It's a situation, in my experience, where there's a lot of things that could go wrong just because the person who's commissioning the part or getting the repair done doesn't really know what they're asking for. The flip side to that, or the add-on to that, I should say, is that they also don't generally understand how pricing works in this kind of industry. Everybody knows if you're getting 1 part made versus 100 parts made, your per piece price is generally going to be a lot higher for 1 part because you need to set up a machine, whatever. You know, they're going to say like, oh, just zip it here, you know, just cut this off here. When really you're like, man, I'm going to need to put that thing in a vise. I'm going to need to find a way to hold it. I'm going to need to find a way to pick it up. And especially if you're doing something that's a repair for somebody, if I screw this thing up, now they got to go buy a new one, or I got to buy them a new one. There's a lot of factors involved. These people, in my experience, are generally a waste of my time. You know, has a job come in where a guy offers me 40 bucks to drill 1 hole on a manual mill and I'll do it? Sure. Is that the general rule? No. You know, generally it's a lot of talking to figure out what they want, and a lot of trying to figure out, you know, make drawings and stuff, and then to get completely rebuked when you give them a price because they go, oh, I could just buy a new one for that price. Well, you probably could. Again, it's not a poor reflection on them. They just are out of their element. It is what it is. The second kind of walk-in customer I find is the guy from a factory, you know, who walks in. This is a guy that'll walk in his coveralls, big work boots. You know, maybe he's part of a road crew. I've had a lot of those guys come in. Or a guy from, you know, a production factory doing something outside, you know, machining and manufacturing. He's coming in with an issue that he needs solved now. He has a problem. He needs you or wants you to solve his problem. So he's going to want it quick. Price may not be as big of an issue, but in my experience, again, unless you're kind of geared towards this kind of walk-in customer, and some shops are, some shops love this kind of customer, generally are fairly difficult to work with due to the time constraints. he's looking to get his issue solved right now. May not understand that you have production jobs running through on all your machines. Yeah, I can get it in 2 weeks. It doesn't help him because he needs this fixed today or his line is down. I've had good results through guys like this occasionally. I've gotten some contracts for building dies for guys doing this. I've gotten repeat work, making new stuff because I solved a little issue for someone. It was good at the time. Today, I generally try to stay away from these kind of jobs as well, mostly because the interruption to my production schedule isn't worth the money that little one-off job. I mean, even if I bill at shop rate for 3 hours, it's not worth the 4, 5, 6 hours of production time I'm going to lose on the job I'm currently running to reset a machine. Again, not bad people. I want you guys to understand, these people who are walking in are looking for answers the same way when we go somewhere to buy a part or, are looking for a fix for our machines. Same thing. Not bad people, as a rule. Can they be bad people? Sure, but they're just looking to get their issues solved. That said, I still prefer these days not to deal with them. The third kind is the very rare, the unicorn of the walk-in world. This is the guy who will walk in who actually happens to be a purchasing agent or a shop owner or a guy who understands what a custom part is, and car guys who want to custom a commission part for their cars that understand the price that goes into these things, or the guy who happens to walk in the door who actually has 10 drawings in his hand and wants 100 of each. These are incredibly rare. I've had maybe 4 of them over the years because at the end of the day, most guys who are doing that kind of purchasing, they'll use email. You know what I mean? It's 2020. These guys either have purchasing departments or they will email you or they're getting quotes from a bunch of different places. So they don't have time to go to every single shop and check it out. The only time I've really had a big job come off this is I had a guy walk in who I thought was going to be one of the first two. Did not seem like he really knew what he was talking about, but then it was just, he happened to be a little bit different in the way he carried himself socially. So by the time I ended up getting through what he was actually looking for, it turned into a pretty good subcontracting job for him for a little bit while his shop caught up. The point is this: you don't know whether someone is going to be one of those rare opportunities to really make money and have a good business relationship until you talk to them. Some guys say, when someone walks in off the street and they want to get a part made, quote them super high, because then either you're going to make good money off it or they're going to go away. Personally, I don't subscribe to this 98% of the time because I'm not in the business of taking people for a ride. Could I potentially have some of these guys who didn't know any better make $200 an hour doing a stupid job? Yeah, but at the end of the day, swindling people is not the way to get ahead. And I know everybody says, buyer beware, you gotta know what you're asking for, you pay for the expertise, and you do, but it's very easy, as I've said in a lot of my other videos, to get a very bad reputation in a small industry that will follow you. If you rip off this guy, then he goes to another shop and he tells them, oh, last time I got this part made, it cost me $4,000, and they say, this is a $1,000 part. Your name is attached to that. What happens if that guy goes and opens a shop? He's never going to order from you again, and he's going to tell everybody that you're a ripoff. It's do what you're going to do that way, but personally, I don't recommend that approach. The way I approach walk-ins, assuming they are, unlike the guy who's describing it in the forum post, not being rude, not being condescending, is I will take, and this is personal because I'm typically not on the floor much these days, I'll take 5 minutes of my day to talk to them, hear them out politely, and try to get an understanding of what they're looking for. I personally, as I mentioned, don't really like doing little jobs like that from walk-ins, but that doesn't mean I won't hear them out. Like I said, because everybody's looking for a solution, I know other shops that love doing this kind of work. My neighbor here, he has had his own little shop there. He's a one-man show. He just put in a VF2, his first CNC in 35 years or 40 years, however long he's been doing it. He loves these kind of jobs. Every single job like this that I can turn his way makes him happy because he basically does it just to keep himself busy these days, and he doesn't care. He'll have time to do, $40, $60 jobs for somebody off the street. Conversely, because I send him that kind of work, when somebody comes in that wants, a big turning job or CNC stuff, he'll send them my way, and I've gotten good jobs off that. Take the time, personally, in my opinion, to hear what these people are looking for, because you don't really know what you're looking for or who you're talking to if you just turn them away. It's very easy to say, no, sorry, or $1,000 an hour, what do you want? It doesn't solve anything, doesn't help you, doesn't help them. It just doesn't get anybody anywhere. If you're finding people walking in your shop, if you're in, for some reason, a high traffic area all the time, your mileage may vary. I'm in an industrial area, so if people are coming here, they're typically looking for us. All that said, I do think it's important to know and remember that just because you are a shop that potentially serves the public does not mean your shop needs to be public access. It is your shop. To me, it is the same as your home. You don't just let people walk in your front door. If you don't want people to come in your shop, that is 100% okay. You can lock your doors, you can put a phone number on the front door, keep your front door locked and say deliveries only, call to, for any questions, please call. A lot of places are like that, right? You can't walk into an architectural fabrication studio in New York City just because, you want something made. You need to call ahead, you need to make an appointment. That's fine, I have nothing wrong with that. I would almost prefer to filter off the phone. I leave our doors open because we do have people kind of coming in and out all day. But we do have, so we have our offices upstairs and our shop floor has a door on it. In big letters, has a big sign that says, employees only, no access beyond this point. A, it's for insurance reasons. I don't want people wandering across my floor. B, it's for security reasons. There's no reason why somebody should be walking into my shop. And C, it's just, I don't want people to feel that they can walk into my area. If that's your prerogative, you can do that. I mean, it's whatever you want that way. Never feel compelled that you have to entertain this kind of work. But if it arrives, all I'm advising is take the time if you have it. Don't, make a huge time sink, or if you find yourself burning time through it, don't do it. But it doesn't hurt if you have the time to hear somebody out, because you never know when something could be worth it potentially. Okay? That's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Again, my name is Ian Sandusky from Lakewood Machine. If you want to see more videos like this, there's going to be more coming here on Practical Machinist. So make sure you like and subscribe below. If you want to see more videos like this from my archives, you can go to my channel at Let's Machine at youtube.com. And that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. You take care. Have a great day.